Hello and welcome to Joyful, the podcast that will help you live a more joyful life. I'm your host, Chloe Markham, and it's my mission to help you find more joy every single day. This podcast is a deep dive into ways to reduce your stress, your overwhelm, anxiety, and that voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough, whilst also diving into the methods, philosophies, and protocols that help us live more connected, grounded, and ultimately happier lives. This is about living life on purpose. Without any further ado, let's dive into today's episode. I'm coming at you after a long, challenging battle with my 6 terabyte hard drive. Listen, it was bloody, it was dramatic. Basically I had to eject it, right? Because it makes a load of noise. I'm recording a podcast. Please don't make noises. And, when it comes up and says, sorry, we can't eject it, something's using it. And I'm like, what's using it? Nothing's open. So I had to force eject. I'm telling you this because I feel a little bit like that's a great analogy for life. Maybe we all need, it's challenging. I've been speaking to a lot of yogis this week as part of my kind of annual survey of TYR members to understand how we can better serve them, right? Because it has to be about the members. I think that's the most exciting thing. And so many people say to me, in fact, I was speaking to a friend, Harriet, the other day about this. It's really difficult, isn't it, to show up and to get motivated to practice yoga or to meditate or to go for a run or whatever it is that your kind of like fitness movement, mindfulness regime is. It can be really challenging to do that. But every single person I've spoken to a lot, has said to me, oh, but I just know how good it is. I know how good it makes me feel. But the effort to do it, I don't know, it's a lot. It's a lot of effort. Isn't that really interesting? So I wonder what it is that gets in the way. I suppose the call of Ben & Jerry's and Netflix, or I don't know, social media. So anyway, you're listening to me right now, and thank you for being here. I appreciate you tuning in, getting my words in your ears. I want us to take a second, because maybe you've practiced today, maybe you've moved today, maybe you really haven't moved today or for a while. Doesn't matter. I want this moment. That was me shuffling on my chair. I want this moment to kind of be a reminder for all of us. So if you can, put your feet flat to the ground. Maybe lift the spine a little bit, get long in the spine, give yourself a little wiggle. What you've been doing for ages. Maybe you're on a walk. In which case, feel the walk. I want us to take a big breath in. Side out. Just do one more like that. Hand on heart. How are you feeling? How are you doing? Where are you stuck? Where are you tight? What emotions are going on for you right now? It's really interesting because this podcast for me is about just connecting with you. Whoever you are right now listening to this, I just want to connect and have very much one-sided conversation with you, right? About how we can live more joyfully and mindfully and connectedly and groundedly and all of that. But then I show up and I'm like, what do I talk about today? I don't know what to talk about today. But I know what to talk about. It is this idea, the motivation behind movement. Because it's been happening in my head so much lately, is this motivation to move. So, for those of you who don't know, a year and a half ago, I went to a physio with quite severe hip pain. It actually came about because I was doing my traditional New Year's Day thing, which is to walk part of the Cleveland Way, which is a coastal walk down the Yorkshire coast. It goes inland too, but I only do the coastal bit. So I get there for 7 a.m. I know, super ambitious. You should probably look up to me or something. I don't know. So I get there early and I walk basically it's a there and back thing, right? It's a linear, it's a coastal. And it's really lovely. It's such a beautiful way for me to see in the new year. And I get a lot of time to think. I go on my own. It's just great. I really love it. But this particular year, or this particular day, 1st of January last year, 2020? No, flipping out, I was ages ago. 2022, thanks. It was really muddy, right? And there was a particular point where I slipped and I fell kind of sideways. Anyway, my point being, that really aggravated this hip pain that I had. So I went to the physio with this hip pain. Anyway, I have a hip impingement. So that means that basically the top of my femur, so the thigh bone, is basically it's been pulled forwards and it's smushing into the socket, the hip socket. So much so that it's caused a bit of friction and some build-up of some great stuff that gives me pain. So, I mean, that was a really devastating thing. Honestly, I'm laughing because, okay, so you haven't got cancer, you're not going to die, you haven't broken anything, you're not in a wheelchair. Like, all of these things are, big, traumatizing, life-changing things. This is just a tiny little hip impingement that wasn't even that bad. But for me it was, and I suppose it still is, but at the time it was. I'm a yoga teacher, I don't get this shit. And there's been since several moments with my physio, shout out Kevin, where I have broken down in the treatment room because, this denial and imposter syndrome, how can I possibly teach yoga now? This is crazy. Because I know that, I've been practicing yoga for a long time. We're talking the best part of 20 years. I don't know, I'm losing count. I've been teaching for, at this point, about 7, just over 7. And I know exactly what happened here. It was because I was teaching 14 hours of yoga a week, and I would perhaps demonstrate without warming up, and I would just go deep because I'm a yoga teacher and that's what you're supposed to do, and going deep is the thing, right? So I would go deep into poses I perhaps wasn't warmed up for, and I would continue and continue and continue to do the same movement and the same movement and the same movement. I am not saying here yoga is bad. Yoga is an absolute miracle worker in the right places. I still practice yoga and I find it to be the most cathartic, healing, joyful, empowering, body sorting practice ever. But yoga, for me, for that length of time when I had my studio in York and I was teaching such a lot and not doing anything else because I was so shattered, and so I was burnt out. I mean, look, when it came to the decision to close that studio down with me and my ex-partner, and to go online, it was like this weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I didn't even know I had that weight. So I know that it came from yoga, this hip impingement. And that was a real challenging thing. A really challenging thing. Because it's my practice, it's my business, it's my, 24/7. But, the solution has been and continues to be, okay, if we think about it kind of anatomically for a second, if you imagine the femur head, so the top of my thigh bone has been moved forward because I'm constantly using my hip flexors to flex forward, right? To fold forward and to do all those things that we do in yoga practice. And what often a yoga practice can miss is booty building, right? Is glute activation or glute strengthening. Okay, you might find it in a couple warrior poses, but there's nothing that's really, I suppose, that drives the building and the work and the strength of our glutes, of our bum. So, lightly and casually and easily, that's what my physio told me to do, right? Just work on building up your booty. So I did. And so this was just over a year ago, and I've been doing that since, and I still to this day practice a lot more strength building. I've even put some glute strengthening classes in the library. I don't know if you guys, if your members listen to this, if you've practiced with them, let me know what you think. I love it because I do it all the time now. But anyway, my point being that I'm starting to see it way differently, and maybe it takes us to get like 30 plus. I don't know, maybe it's this like aging thing, or like, I don't know, this realization that we're not invincible. But I'm seeing this movement practice as way more than, and this sounds really stupid because I preach the opposite of this, but it's way more than, okay, let's see if I can bind, let's see if I can go deep here, let's see if whatever, let's practice so that I can lose weight, right? Or let's practice so, I don't know, I can get definition on my abdominals or in my arms or whatever. And I don't care who you are, so often when we start a yoga practice, so many people, the majority of people start because that is what we want, right? And arguably that's not a terrible thing. It isn't a terrible thing. Wanting to be toned and wanting to lose weight, especially if, you know, we have to lose weight, if that's a, you know, medical urgency, I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying, right? That's a positive thing. And I'm still going to be here and say, I would love to have X whatever. I would still love to have less cellulite. Oh my god, shoot me. I would still love to have more definition in my upper arms and less belly fat and blah blah blah. On and on we go. But what I want us to start to do, and I'm so seeing this in myself, and I want you to do it too, and anyone who practices movement and yoga, is to see these practices as we need to do them because we want to age gracefully, right? We want to get to 70 with 1 million grandchildren, and we want to run around after our grandkids and be able to participate instead of sit and watch them do the thing. We want to participate in the thing that they're doing. Isn't that what living joyfully is about? I don't plan to have children, so that grandchildren picture is probably never going to happen for me, but it doesn't matter, does it? Whether you have kids or not, like getting to an age of 70 plus, 60 plus, whatever your kind of thing is, and being able to participate and being able to do things, and, you know, like, I don't know, I'm thinking of tennis. I don't play tennis. I know plenty of people who play tennis and love it. We don't play tennis, or they don't play tennis because, well, you know, I should probably get better at tennis, or whatever, like, we do it because we love it and the joy of it. Or like walking, going for a walk. I know sometimes it's important for us to get out for physical reasons, but actually when you get there, it's like, actually, this is really joyful. Like, give me anyone who walks by a canal and doesn't have a nice, calming, relaxed time. Do we ever want that ability to walk by a canal, or walk up a mountain if that's your jam, or play tennis, or play cricket, or paddleboard, or surf, or swim? To engage in our lives, right, in a moving sort of way, do we want that to stop? Hell fucking no, we don't want that to stop. Of course we don't. Nobody wants that to stop. So I'm starting to see, because of my hip impingement, I do these kind of more, I suppose, drill-like movements in the morning now. I've replaced some of my vinyasa with these more drill-like movements to support my hips and my glutes and this hip impingement that I've got and the pain that I have around that. If I don't do it, I have pain. Do you see what I'm saying? I don't know. It's a really it's a big conversation, and yeah, I'm just speaking to so many people, you know, TYR members, and really the core for these guys and for me to practice is so that they don't get stiff with age, and so they feel more capable. Someone said to me the other day, they practice yoga so they don't kill people. I get you, babe. Like, you know, we're better people, we're more mindful, we're more capable, creative. You know, focused, calm. We're less affected by stressful things. It is like a superpower, eh? And I said this podcast wasn't going to be about yoga. I suppose it really isn't this episode, is it? It's about the tools in our toolkit that we use regularly to help us stay active and capable and calm and all the things I just mentioned. And for me, yoga is huge. Yoga is huge. And I've been doing Pilates to support my strength and my core. Movement every day, walking. I walk almost every day. Like, it's huge. Mindfulness, meditation, breath work, journaling. I don't journal because I'm going to write a book. I mean, I'd love to write a book. But I don't journal every day so that I get better at journaling. Do you see what I'm saying? And it's the same with the yoga practice. And like, I don't know. I've mentioned this before. It's challenging to continue to see, I don't know, in the industry, so many teachers being like, I don't know, the opposite. I don't want to diss other teachers at all, but yeah. So anyway, back to kind of the beginning of this waffle. The challenge is getting on the mat, isn't it? The challenge is doing the thing. Even though we know we're going to feel so much better, what is it that helps us and supports us doing the thing? I don't know. I'm genuinely asking you, what is it? Maybe, I don't know, can you reply? Can you email me? hello@theyogarevolution.co.uk, because I'm genuinely interested. You know, it's that whole leave your gym kit out in the morning so that it's easy for you to go to the gym, right? Or I've heard people say go to sleep in your gym kit. It sounds a bit restrictive now. Yeah. What is it that we can do to encourage ourselves to practice more? And the live classes we have in our community, in our membership, they definitely help. I know a lot of people who rely on them for that, you know, accountability. But isn't it a fascinating thing? Just this idea that we know how good it is for us, yet we find it really challenging to do it. Not even know how good it is for us, know how much we enjoy it. And then we find it so difficult. Yeah. So, I'd love to know. Email me. Comment. Can you comment on our podcast? I don't know. I've never commented on our podcast. But let me know what you do to stay accountable and to stay on it. I am, speaking of, you know, back to my hard drive situation, speaking of forced, what is it called? Forced eject, thanks. I think I'm going to do that. It's the afternoon for me. I'm working on really interesting things for the Yoga Revolution. We're coming up to the release of a member event. So it's going to be free for members, but if you're not a member, you'll be able to come too. There'll be a paid ticket for non-members. I'm just really excited about it. And in maybe next week's episode, I'll talk about in-person yoga and what it should feel like. Because there is a barometer of good and bad, you know. So, yeah, lots of stuff going on, but I'm taking the rest of the day off. I've got a hair mask on, babe, you know it. And I might go practice yoga nidra. Some afternoon nap time is coming. And maybe this episode has been complete shitty waffle, but I'm going to probably launch it anyway. And if you've got this far, thanks so much. But go have a good day. Oh, and also, before we go, a good to be alive moment. What's yours today? A good to be alive moment. If you listen to episode 1 of season 2, I think, I talked about this. A good to be alive moment. Mine right now, do you know what? I had a stir fry for breakfast. I know that sounds mental. It was midday. It was 12. And it had cashews in it, and salmon, and an egg from the chickens in our garden, and some other stuff, and egg noodles. Holy crap, I fucking love egg noodles. It was really good, do you know what I mean? Really fucking good. That is my good to be alive moment this morning. Today is really good food that's just, every mouthful's amazing. So with that being said, maybe go and get some good food. Have a good rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for listening, my friend. I hope you're feeling sparkly and inspired to live a more joyful life. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a rating. These things are invaluable to me, and share it with people who need it. This is about inspiring more people to be more connected and lead happier and more joyful lives. Join my inner circle for more inspiration. Learn more at the website theyogarevolution.co.uk and chloemarkham.co.uk. I'll see you in the next episode.